What's up everybody? In this video, we are going spearfishing off the islands of Wilson's Promontory in Victoria, Australia. I know that we are targeting pelagic species, mainly kingfish or tuna, and what I usually do before targeting larger fish is to replace my mono shooting line so that it's free of weak spots like nicks and cuts. Today's goal is to get a kingy, or at least see one. We load up the boat and drive to the launch spot, but not before we run into a few troubles, because this is a beach launch, and the truck that drives the boat into the water has to get wet. So we plan to use a separate truck that we don't mind getting wet and rusty. First thing to do is get it running, which eventually happens after a bit. We punch out to the islands and start making some drops. The water is pretty nice with 15-meter plus visibility. I drop down and I see a couple of reef species, including bandys, leathers, and the sweet. I dive again, throwing my throw flasher and grunting and making noise because kingfish are a species that are very curious and you need to make yourself heard and known so that if they're in the area, they come to you. Not seeing any kingies, I decide to go after a fish in a huge school of sweep, taking my time to place a shot. And then making sure to collect my throw flasher afterwards. As usual, I brain, bleed, and gut my catch. This is footage from Jake's GoPro. He's the first of the day to see a kingfish, and he gets to come close to him by grunting and making noise, and gets a nice broadside shot off. You can tell it's a solid shot. No need for any second shots from us. Still has a bit of fight in it, but he's able to wrangle it close enough so that he can brain spike it, and then he cuts the gill membrane to bleed it out to give the highest quality of meat.
Beautiful!
I was boating at this point and was there to take the fish from him and then interrogate him.
Beautiful. Well done. Single. Sick.
It came up pretty close to you? Curious? Was it pretty...
After a couple of dives, the kingies struck for me, but they're very flighty, and although I do my best to attract them and not swim directly at them, they swim off not to be seen again. What's beautiful to see here is the sheer amount of baitfish. They are literally everywhere, and by this we can tell we found a good spot, and we just need to stay here to get more opportunities. We had also realized that we forgot our spearfishing flasher. So we decided to make our own from what we had available, and we put it together with fishing line, a fishing lure, an inside-out chip bag, flasher parts, and a plastic water bottle, and it was actually half decent. I keep my eye on the flasher, and eventually it pays dividends, and a kingfish is seen staring at it close by. I'm the first to see it, so I go down and take a shot. I can tell my shot lands toward the rear of the fish, and so I play it gently and call for a second shot.
Fish on!
And it turns out to be a pretty poor second shot, so we actually decided to go for a third shot as well. It was a right mess of lines, but a fish in the boat is the most important thing, and we don't want to injure fish and lose them. So we take the time to untangle it, and I finish off the fish and bleed it as per normal.
Oh, that is sick. Wow.
And I was so happy because this is actually my first ever kingfish in Victoria, and it was such a nice size. The Keenies showed up, and I am so stoked. Not the cleanest shot by any means, but after being ghosted by the fish earlier, I was not going to let my chance slip away, and I took the shot I had, which was a tail shot, and then my mates backed it up with a second shot and a third shot. Shy of a meter. That's a good fish. While I was on the boat taking care of my fish, another of my mates had landed a shot into another good-sized kingfish, and this time it had brought its friends. Jake goes down and sees that it's a safe holding shot and it doesn't need a second shot, and so he goes to target another kingfish. He starts to line up, but at the last moment, our other mate takes a shot without realizing Jake is there. And this is actually more common than you think. When you're in this dynamic environment and you're locking onto a fish,
You come straight over
you
my
don't
shoulder.
necessarily have a perfect spatial awareness.
I had him lined up and you just come straight in and took a pot shot from like 10 meters.
We move spots and Jake, who is a fish magnet, comes upon an entire school of juvenile fish, which are below the legal limit of 60 centimeters and too small to shoot, but it's just a spectacular thing to see. After that, we head in and again face a few dramas with getting the boat out of the water. But with the help of another truck, we get it done. Back at home the next day, I start the fillet process, and I'm definitely no master, but I know how to get the job done and not waste any meat in the process. Any meat that I initially miss in my fillet work, I know that I will be able to capture later on by scraping down the bones. After removing the fillets and the skin, I start to slice the meat into meal-sized portions. That is gorgeous. To not miss any meat, I use a spoon to scrape the bones clean. There you go, scraped clean. The collars and head then get grilled to make use of that meat. I slice up some fresh fish into sashimi, and I use all the scrapings I've cut up into small pieces and mixed with sriracha, rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, sesame seed oil, honey, and wasabi. This meal and many others were enjoyed and shared with family and friends.